Thank you. Item 12. I will move this recommendation and Councillor Simpson second.
Really?
No. I just want to move it first. That's all. Then I'm just going to invite you to tell us everything. So just want to introduce.
Good morning. I'm Annette Campion. Mace Ward gives us apologies. This is just a brief report which is looking for the appointment of a councillor to the AKL PARS leadership group. The AKL PARS is an initiative between Auckland Council and Auckland Transport, and it's looking to increase the amount of active transport used by Aucklanders, encouraging people to use the new shared paths and cycleways. There is a leadership group that was set up in 2015. It's co-convened by the CEs of both Council and AT, and we, as I said, we're looking to formally appoint a councillor to that group, and I would say that Chris Darby has been involved in that leadership group since it was formed.
Okay, thanks, Annette. And just going to invite if there's any questions. And
I'll ask the obvious one. So how, what is the advantage of having continuity in this group going forward?
I would suggest that Councillor Darby has been very supportive of this project and has the history behind it. It's up to the council to appoint, the governing body to appoint whoever you want, but there is a...
okay, and I also note that Councillor Darby is still keen to be that member on this particular committee. Councillor Sayers.
On that case, Mr Chair, I'd like to recommend the councillor into the recommendation. Oh, it's there? Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it's up there. No.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, had all the bases covered.
You do.
You should prove that he can ride a bike.
So look, if there's no further questions, just an open... Oh, questions? Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Marta Wilcox and then Councillor Watson.
Look, no issues with Councillor Darby because he's progressed this quite well in the workshops that I've attended. I'm just concerned a little bit about the Greenways project because it is really a transport issue, and sometimes it's been promoted by some staff as an environmental kaupapa, and I suppose in a bigger way it is. I just wanted assurance that we're really talking about the same thing here, not just shed things with birds and trees and flowers and all the rest, but really we're talking about the transport kaupapa of the Greenways. And also my other issue is that it seems to be always about the central Auckland. It doesn't, on the isthmus, I haven't heard of any Greenways paths up in Rodney or down in Franklin.
Everywhere.
Sorry, in regard to the first question, this is about delivering greenways that are being prepared by local boards, but it is focusing on the active transport, so getting people out walking, cycling to work or to their local community activities. In regard to the second question, there are paths going in up in Rodney, but they're potentially more routes than or trails rather than something that you would bike and walk on. And I think the focus has been on the central isthmus because there have been a number of shared paths that have been delivered in the last couple of years, and because of the budget that Auckland Transport have put towards this.
Councillor Watson.
Yeah, thanks. It just builds on that question a little bit. I understand Councillor Darby there, which is great, and obviously a couple of local board people. Just in terms of feeding into this process, and Councillor Darby might be the best one to answer this perhaps. Auckland's a very big area. There's all manner of different challenges in terms of the cycle network or achieving this outcome that's articulated here of encouraging active transport and connecting people in their local network. Other than going as a council the usual way to AT, is there any way that interested people can feed into this group? Would it be through Councillor Darby, or is there some other process?
So I'll ask first Annette, if not, defer to Chris. Annette?
I'd actually like to defer to Chris, if that's okay, because he's been involved in the project, yeah.
Look, it's very open. Councillor Hills has expressed an interest in greenways. From his local board days, he was leading the Kapariki Networks program. And how this came about was there were all these disparate programs, and they really need to be married up and looked at as a network of what were termed greenways. Now we're calling it Auckland Paths. So there's always the opportunity for members, if members have a particular interest, and if you confirm that motion, I'm very willing to invite you to one of those meetings. These are not exclusive members of Greenways or the Auckland Paths Leadership Group only. Other elected members from local boards and councillors have dropped in. In fact, I think the last one, Councillor Hills attended. So very willing there. Just a quick response to, it's primarily a transport issue. Yes, it is, and yes, it's not. And that's something that the Auckland Paths group really focused on, that it crosses over between the planning committee and this committee. It doesn't belong anywhere, but it belongs everywhere. So it is about transport, but it's also about those through park, through water care designations, those journeys that it's about movement of people, be on cycle and foot, but it's also about respecting those corridors as waterways and biodiversity corridors and enriching that as we enrich it for the movement of people.
Cool, thank you. Councillor Casey? No? Councillor Fletcher, and then we'll get into any comments.
Well,
Questions first.
Councillor Darby, to a degree, has actually given a really good insight into the background of this. But it came about because we had, under the last term of council, there were a lot of open space acquisitions being proposed by local boards, and there wasn't really any coherency to these acquisitions that people were wanting to make. And I had the opportunity of sitting on the board of Auckland Transport at that stage and also chairing parks. So we looked at it in terms of a jigsaw puzzle to say, well, look, how can we actually get this going as a complete network? And Councillor Darby has picked up the mantle on that, and I think he's done an excellent job. But I think in answer to Member Wilcox, it has really relied on the local boards to come up with their initiatives. But from what I can see, it's right across the intention of it is to be a network right across the region, and also to be as cost effective as we can be in any acquisitions that we're making, so that there's some coherency to those acquisitions, rather than just having a whole lot of sort of ad hoc pathways. So yes, well done, Councillor Darby. You've really done an outstanding job in taking this forward, and I love the fact that you've picked up the biodiversity issues that the opportunity presents.
Thank you.
Cool. Chris, I'm just going to give you the opportunity if you wish to say anything. If not, I will put the recommendation.
No, I think we're running pretty late, and
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate the anticipated support if the vote goes through.
Okay. So look, I'm going to move the recommendations. The recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Thank you.